What if I told you that humans are the ultimate Nepo babies? Born into favor, given a planet, spoken into existence with the breath of God and the blessing of ease, and that is what made the fallen upset. They had to work, we were born. They had to obey law, we were gifted life. They had to ascend through ranks and rituals, while we just had to remember. So they reversed the game. They made us forget. You see, they taught that only one man was chosen, only one was holy, only one could speak to the divine. Because if you knew you were chosen too, if you remembered that heaven lies in you, you'd rise. You'd walk differently. You'd stop laboring under laws that were never meant for your kind of light. So they gave us a name, a different name. They took Yeshua and renamed him into something that sounds a lot like jealous. So you'd believe God was possessive, punitive, angry, and not your source, not your family, not your reflection. They weren't just erasing a name, they were erasing a lineage. Because if you follow the truth, if you trace it back through whispers, past the doctrine, beyond the church walls, you'll find not just a man, but a family. Yeshua and Magdalene, not a myth, but memory. Not poor, but royal. Not religion, but revolution. So they enslaved us. Not just in body, but in belief. They coded it into our DNA, into our telomeres, spiritual caps that cut off our longevity, cut off our memory, cut off our divine inheritance, and we believed it. We started believing the rules they made, the ones that never made sense to our soul. We started working for what was already ours. We traded ease for effort. We traded presence for performance. We traded birthright for breadcrumbs. And we passed it down, generation after generation after generation, rinse and repeat, until we started doing it to each other. But what if I told you this? The gag is that you were never supposed to earn what you already are. You're not here to become worthy. You're here to remember that you already were. You're not here to compete. You're here to connect. And the system, that tight bubble of division, hierarchy, control, it's not a human-made system. That's why it wears us down so fast. That's why your spirit feels heavy in those spaces, because it was never designed for you. That's why even if you have a lot on the outside, you're breaking on the inside. You were meant to be free, meant to speak mountains into moving, meant to walk with God in the cool of the day, not crawl for validation in the heat of performance. You were the air, the light, the reason the war began, because the fallen couldn't stand that you were gifted everything they had to fight to reach. And so they try to steal your peace by keeping you obedient to a lie. But the truth is rising now. And maybe, just maybe, that's why they wanted Yeshua gone. Not because he was different, but because he was familiar, because he looked like you, because he walked like us, because he remembered what they erased. And when one remembers, truly remembers, they become dangerous to the system. So I'll say this, soul to soul, what you feared the most was never the real threat. The real threat is your remembrance, because when you remember, you can't be ruled, you can't be bought, you can't be broken. You can't be turned into a tool for a world that was never made for your spirit. They erased the name, but they can't erase the blood. They tried to rewrite the story, but they forgot we're the ones who remember the ending. This has been Between Lovers, the Heart and Soul Chronicles. I am T. For the ones who see, for the ones who know, welcome to the show. Please visit BetweenLovers.com. Follow at Between Lovers on TikTok and Instagram. If this transmission has stirred something in you, go ahead and share it. It's not your imagination, it's your inheritance. Walk boldly, walk gently, but most of all, walk soulfully. You were always the one. What if, what if, what if, and what would you say to what if?